From the very first second, something feels off. The energy is wrong. Nobody was prepared for what they were about to see. Definitely not tonight, and definitely not like this. The screen lights up with a shaky, low-quality video, the same kind you always see right before something terrible happens. And then the live chat explodes because the person crying behind the camera is Chrisean. But this time, she isn't loud, she isn't screaming, she isn't putting on a show like people clown her for. Her voice is trembling. Her breathing is uneven. She keeps glancing over her shoulder like somebody is following her. Viewers are still trying to figure out what she's running from when another voice suddenly cuts through the darkness. A second voice. A familiar one. Her sister. But instead of comfort or concern, what comes out of her mouth is ice cold. No warmth. No love. No protection. Just a flat, ruthless sentence that makes the entire internet stop. She don't deserve him. We taking him tonight? Instant panic. Instant chaos. Instant disbelief. Even people who don't like Chrisean, even her harshest critics, never imagined they would hear her own sister say something like that on camera. The live chat goes wild. Screenshots start flying. And just when everyone is trying to process the words, headlights blast across the frame, the camera jerks, and the phone slips. That's when the world sees him. The man no one expected to be part of this again, Blueface. He's sitting there with a cold, eerie look on his face, like he already knows what's about to go down. Like he agreed to it. Like this was the plan all along. Behind him, another one of Chrisean's sisters is holding her phone up, recording from her angle like she's documenting a mission. The internet detonates. Fans are screaming in the comments. Blogs crash from the traffic. Because this isn't just some messy breakup clip anymore. This is a full-blown family war. A betrayal so deep, so twisted, so dangerous that everyone watching understands one thing immediately. Once this video starts, you can't look away. Not for a second. Because what's coming next isn't just messy. It's the kind of situation that shatters trust, blows apart relationships, and drags hidden secrets straight into the light. And tonight, the people moving against Chrisean aren't random haters, exes, or strangers on the internet. They're her own blood. Long before this chaos. Long before the headlights. Long before anyone whispered about taking her son, there was already a storm quietly building behind the scenes. A storm no one outside the inner circle really understood. People watched the lives, the club fights, the unhinged interviews, the public drama with Blueface, and thought they were seeing the full picture. But what nobody realized is that the darkest fractures weren't between her and her ex. They were inside her own family. Those cracks didn't start with fame. They didn't start with reality TV, music, or viral clips. They started years ago. Old scars covered up with forced smiles and family pictures that now feel like illusions. For a long time, the public assumed Chrisean and her sisters were unshakably tight-unit ride-or-die siblings, the kind who would go to war for each other. But people close to them have been murmuring for years that behind closed doors, jealousy and resentment were quietly poisoning everything. Not jealousy over money, not exactly fame. Jealousy over attention. Because in a house full of chaos, Chrisean was the one people looked at first. Her personality was louder. Her emotions went harder. Her presence filled the room even when she wasn't trying. She didn't set out to steal the spotlight. She just existed loudly. But to certain sisters, that loudness felt like theft. Like their voices didn't matter. Like they were standing behind her instead of beside her. When fame finally did arrive, it didn't heal anything. It magnified everything. Every argument. Every misunderstanding. Every who's the victim. Who's lying? Who's being used? Who's being ignored? Old grudges reopened. Old bitterness resurfaced. The world only saw small glimpses on live or social media. But the full horror underneath, that stayed off camera. What most people don't know is that months before this viral video, Chrisean had already started trying to distance herself from some of her own siblings. Not out of hate, out of self-defense. She wanted peace. She wanted focus. She wanted to protect her mental health and give her son stability. But deep down, she felt something wasn't right. She'd been hearing strange things. Comments made by certain sisters about stepping in, fixing the situation, doing what's best for the baby. At first, she dismissed it as regular family drama. People talking out of frustration. Then came the late-night calls she wouldn't pick up. The messages hinting she wasn't stable, that she wasn't safe, that maybe someone else should step up for the child. Insiders say Chrisean told someone weeks before this that she felt watched not by paparazzi, not by fans, by her own family. Like certain relatives wanted something from her that she had no intention of giving up. When she finally confronted them privately, things exploded. The calm conversation turned into a screaming match that shook everyone in the room. One sister allegedly shouted, "If you won't protect him, we will." Another said, "We've done waiting." Most fans thought all the pressure on Chrisean was coming from Blueface, the court stuff, and the public dragging. They didn't realize the real threat wasn't an ex. It wasn't social media. It was coming from inside her own bloodline. The more she tried to hold the family together, the more they pulled away. Group chats without her. Phone calls she wasn't included in. Plans being discussed in corners where she wasn't invited. Meanwhile, behind her back, her sisters had allegedly been quietly communicating with Blueface for weeks, and Chrisean had no idea. According to someone close to the situation, one sister started saying that Blueface understood the situation better and supposedly agreed that something had to be done. Nobody knows exactly how those conversations began, whether out of concern, manipulation, or revenge. But once that door was opened, there was no closing it. Teaming up with him wasn't just betrayal, it was strategy. Blueface had his own motives, and they were far from innocent. When his goals lined up with his sister's anger, a plan started forming one nobody on the outside would suspect until it was already in motion. The scariest part? The sisters weren't even trying to hide it anymore. A few days before this night, one of them posted a cryptic message online. Sometimes protecting someone means taking something away. Most people scrolled past it. They thought it was about a breakup, a friendship fallout, or some vague life struggle. Nobody imagined it was about taking a child. People close to the family say something recently pushed the sisters over the edge. Something no one has publicly talked about yet. A private blow-up that ended with slammed doors, threats to cut ties for good, and accusations that rattled everyone. In that fight, one sister allegedly said the sentence now echoing through every corner of this story: "She doesn't deserve to raise him. We'll handle it ourselves." From that moment, everything sped up. Phone calls got shorter. Voices got colder. The emotional distance turned into a mission. And Chrisean's instincts, always loud, always buzzing, started screaming inside her. That's why in her last few lives, her energy felt off. Why her mood jumped so fast? Why her smile never quite reached her eyes? She could feel something coming. She just didn't know when. Then, out of nowhere, Blueface reappeared. Not just on social media, in real life. Quiet meetups with one sister in random parking lots. Late-night texts with another. Asking questions he had no right to ask. Offering help nobody should have accepted. And instead of shutting him out, they pulled him in. They told themselves it was for the baby, even though anyone with a basic sense of pattern recognition could see it was something much darker. Tonight was not an accident, not a coincidence, not a misunderstanding. It was the result of weeks of plotting, resentment, manipulation, and secret alliances formed entirely behind Chrisean's back. So when those headlights hit the front of her house and she finally saw who was inside the car, everything inside her crashed. Not because she was scared of them, but because in that moment she realized the truth. Her worst betrayal didn't come from her ex. It came from people who share her DNA. The night everything snapped was supposed to be calm. At least that's what Chrisean told herself. She had finally gotten her baby to sleep after hours of fussiness and pacing the living room. That familiar tight feeling sitting heavy on her chest. The same feeling she gets right before everything in her life flips upside down. The house was dim, lit just enough to see, but dark enough for shadows to creep along the walls. She kept glancing out the window, not really knowing why. Just a gut feeling that something was off. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. No voicemail, no text, just silence. She ignored it. Then it buzzed again. Same number. Still nothing. The third time, her screen lit up with a text that made her entire body go rigid. We're coming. No name, no explanation. No emoji, just 2 words that felt like a threat. She tried calling back. No answer, she texted. No delivered mark, no reply. She started convincing herself it was a wrong number, a prank, something dumb. Then another notification came through. This time, it wasn't a text. It was a video. The camera was shaking, headlights flashing against pavement, noise in the background. For half a second, she thought maybe she was imagining things, until the image stabilized and 2 faces came into focus. Her sisters, in the front seat of a car, and Blueface leaned between them, smirking like this was entertainment. Her heart dropped not because of him, because of them. One sister said, "Almost there." The other laughed nervously, trying to play it off like a joke, but nothing about it felt funny. This didn't feel like a prank. It felt like a warning, a countdown. Panic rushed over her. She grabbed her keys, grabbed her baby, grabbed whatever she thought she might need if things went left. She didn't know exactly what they wanted, but she knew one thing. She did not want them anywhere near her child. She called a cousin she deeply trusted. When they picked up, all she could say was, "They're coming for him." She didn't have to explain who. The cousin immediately answered, locked the doors. "I'm on my way." But Chrisean didn't have time to wait. Right as she passed the front window, bright headlights washed over her yard like a raid. She recognized the car immediately, the same one from the video. Her stomach flipped. They were closer than she thought, faster than she expected. She clutched her baby to her chest and whispered, "Mommy got you. Mommy not letting nobody take you," even though her own voice was shaking. Then came the first knock. Loud, heavy, not polite, not tentative. A knock that demanded to be answered. She stood frozen. Another knock. Harder this time. Then her sister's voice, calling her name like she was some stranger behind a door. "Open the door." Chrisean backed away, shaking her head, even though they couldn't see her. Another voice followed her other sister, cold, emotionless, determined. "We're not leaving without him." Her knees nearly gave out. The house felt like it was shrinking, like the oxygen had been sucked out. She knew this moment was coming. Her intuition had been warning her for weeks. But she never thought they'd be bold enough to pull up at night and announce their intentions out loud like some saviors. And then came the voice she dreaded most. "Blueface, open the door, Rock. You making this harder than it gotta be." Rage exploded in her chest. Not fear, anger, the blinding kind. The kind that makes your hands shake and your heartbeat roar in your ears. The kind that only comes when the people who claim they love you stand outside your house and treat you like the enemy. Her phone buzzed again. A new message from a fake-looking account. "If you don't open the door, we will." She knew exactly what that meant. Before she could process her next move, she heard footsteps at the side of the house. More footsteps near the back. They weren't waiting for her cooperation. They were surrounding her. She ran upstairs with her baby, whispering for him to stay quiet, tears stinging her eyes. Not tears of sadness, tears of fury and disbelief. She dialed 911 with shaking fingers, but froze halfway through the call. Voices floated up outside her window. Her sisters, whispering, planning. She's scared. "She won't fight us if we get inside." Blue said the police won't do nothing. "He already talked to somebody. We taking him tonight. She's not stopping us." Chrisean clamped her hand over her mouth to stop the sound she almost let out. Because what she was hearing wasn't just betrayal. It was criminal. She's not fit. She's unstable. She's dangerous. She gonna ruin his life. She don't deserve to raise him. Everything snapped into place. This wasn't some heated emotional pull-up. This wasn't an argument gone too far. This was deliberate, planned, coordinated, and in their heads, they weren't villains. They were heroes rescuing a child. Footsteps moved toward the back door. A doorknob rattled. Someone tried to force it. Another voice said, "Check the window." The house no longer felt like home. It felt like a trap. She pressed her son to her chest, moving to the corner of the room, trying to quiet her breathing as downstairs something slammed hard like someone throwing their weight into the doorframe. Then came the moment that turned a terrifying situation into absolute insanity. Her phone buzzed again. Another video? She knew she shouldn't click it, but she did. Blueface appeared on the screen, sitting in the car, recording himself. "She not stable? We doing what's best. Tonight we taking my son back." It wasn't his words that shattered her. It was the background. One of her sisters, the same one she had publicly defended multiple times, pulled something out of her bag. A folded piece of paper. She handed it toward the camera. Blueface held it up like a trophy. A printed form, legal, official-looking custody paperwork. Part of his signature was visible, but blurred. Blueface smirked. "She don't even know we already got approval." That was the moment everything broke. This wasn't a random stunt. This wasn't them showing up out of anger. This was a setup. A full-scale attempt to take her child behind her back. And that signature, the little bit she could see. That's where the real twist lurked. Because even blurred, the handwriting looked disturbingly familiar. Not hers, not his. Someone else's, someone who had no business being involved. Someone whose name would change everything in the next chapter. For a long moment, Chrisean just stared at the screen, her hands shaking so violently she almost dropped her phone. Her chest felt like it had been punched from the inside. She couldn't move, could barely breathe. The outline of the letters, the way the initials curved, the loop in the first letter. She knew that handwriting. It belonged to someone she trusted, someone she defended. Someone she never believed would cross a line like this. A sharp pain rose in her chest, not from fear, but from realizing she'd been betrayed on a level she didn't think humans could sink to. Outside didn't feel real anymore. These weren't random people trying to rip her life apart. They weren't strangers. They were the same people who had eaten at her table, slept in her house, hugged her, said, "I love you." She stepped away from the window, clutching her son tighter, fighting to steady her breathing as her mind raced. Why would they do this? How long had they been planning? And most importantly, who else knew? The banging on the door grew. Most importantly, who else knew? The banging on the door grew. Louder. Her sisters dropped all pretense. "We know you're in there. Don't make this harder." "You forcing our hand. We should have done this sooner." Then came Blueface's voice again, calm, almost bored. "You ain't gotta hide, Rock. We doing what's right." That word sliced through her, right? In what world was any of this right? She backed further into the room, every instinct in her body screaming, "Protect the baby." But alongside fear came something else. A sudden, crystal-clear understanding. They had already cast her as the villain. In their story, they weren't stealing a child. They were saving him. Her phone buzzed again. A text from yet another unknown number. "If you won't hand him over peacefully, we'll go legal." The paperwork already in motion. Her blood ran cold. This wasn't desperation. This was a coordinated legal attack. She zoomed in again on the custody paper in the earlier video, focusing on that blurred signature. And then the realization hit so hard, her knees almost buckled. It wasn't one of her sisters. It wasn't Blueface. It wasn't even someone she'd been actively fighting with. It was someone who was supposed to stay neutral. Someone who should have never picked a side. Someone who was supposed to protect the child, not divide the family. A relative close. A person who once told her, "I'll always back you up as his mom." Seeing their name there felt like being stabbed. This wasn't forged. It wasn't faked. It wasn't a misunderstanding. They had chosen to stand with her sisters and her ex to weaponize their signature against her. A cold shock flooded through her. This wasn't just a sister's plan. They had backup. powerful backup. Someone with influence. Someone who thought they knew better than her how her son should be raised. Outside, the noises changed. Banging turned into scraping. Someone was trying to pry a window open. She heard glass shift. A lock jiggle. She's upstairs. Check the back. She won't fight us. She knows she'll lose in court. Blue said, the paperwork's solid. Once we file, it's over. She should have shut up. She brought this on herself. The fury building inside her changed the way she breathed. She'd been lied on before, dragged before, used before, but nothing compared to hearing her family calmly discuss stealing her child like he was property. Her baby stirred, letting out a small whimper. That tiny sound broke something inside her. She pulled him close. Nobody's taking you. Not tonight. Not ever. Downstairs, something slammed again. A door frame cracked under pressure. Someone cursed. And then social media lit up. Her phone started blowing up with notifications. A random page had posted a blurry clip of a car pulling up to her house. Then another clip of Blueface pacing near the driveway. Then a third video of her sisters yelling at her door. Within minutes, hashtags were trending. Chrisean family pull up protect that baby Blueface again. Family versus family custody. War Live neighbors went live on TikTok whispering into their phones. She in there? They trying to take the baby. This is wild. Call the cops. They really pulled up like this? Her own family. Some people online sided with the sisters, saying they were saving the child. Others were screaming that this was kidnapping. Nobody knew the whole truth, but everyone knew it was serious. As if that wasn't enough, a new rumor hit Twitter. Insider says a female relative signed custody papers against Chrisean. The internet exploded again. Who signed? Who turned against her? Who in the family thought they had that kind of authority? Fans started screenshotting the custody video and zooming in on the signature. People compared it to old autographs, birthday cards, paperwork. Reddit threads popped up titled, "Someone in her family set her up." Who signed the papers? A wave of comments followed. This wasn't the sister's idea. Somebody older is behind this. That calmness. That's someone who thinks they can't lose. That handwriting looks like a family elder FR. Instagram tea pages threw gasoline on the fire. Some posts praised the sisters for protecting the child. Others accused them of being jealous and manipulative. Some called Blueface a professional chaos agent. Others pointed at the blurred signature and said, "This screams custody trap." YouTubers went live instantly, hungry to break it down first. This is a kidnapping attempt, period. Nah, this looks like a family intervention gone left. I'm hearing the paperwork was filed days ago, y'all. Then came the tweet that changed the tone of everything. A verified entertainment journalist wrote, hearing reports that a third party encouraged the sisters to pursue custody. Name coming soon. The internet froze. Third party. Who had enough influence to convince her own sisters to team up with her ex? Who had the legal knowledge or arrogance to help produce custody documents? Speculation went insane. It gotta be someone from his camp. No, that signature looked feminine. What if it's an older family member? Y'all ignoring the real villain? Someone is pulling strings. Old clips resurfaced. Lives from months ago where a certain older relative said things like, "Sometimes I gotta step in and take control when people don't know how to act." That clip hit different now. It sounded less like tough love and more like a warning. TikTok detectives got to work, enhancing screenshots, comparing handwriting, matching loops and curves. People kept mentioning the same person, the aunt. The one who always had something to say. The one who liked to be in charge. The one who'd acted like a second parent for years. Celebrities started chiming in too. Family or not, you don't ambush a mother at night. That's crazy. Blueface dead wrong for this. This whole thing giving setup vibes. Who's really behind it? Then a well-known industry insider tweeted, "Someone in that family been planning this for a while. Watch who shows up." And just like that, another lie from a neighbor captured it, y'all. Another car just pulled up. This ain't just the sisters and Blueface. Somebody else here? The comments went insane. Is that the aunt? No way she really showed up. If it's her, that means she really signed those papers. The neighbor zoomed in. The quality was bad, but you could see a female figure stepping out of the car slowly, confidently. No hesitation, no shame. She walked toward the house like she owned the situation. The live glitched. People spammed the chat. When it came back, she was halfway up the walkway. Then a big entertainment page dropped the bomb, breaking. Source confirms the relative who signed the custody document is the aunt. The same aunt who once watched Chrisean when she was young. The aunt who always weighed in on family decisions. The aunt who'd been arguing with her for months. The aunt who truly believed she could do a better job raising the baby. Fans lost it. She'd been waiting for this moment. She manipulated the sisters. She, the real mastermind. She wants control, not custody. And then another rumor hit. The aunt allegedly promised the sisters and Blueface legal cover if they helped her get the baby that night. This was no emotional outburst. This was a coordinated power grab, a calculated family coup. The second the aunt stepped out of that car, the energy shifted. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic. It was worse. She walked toward the house with the kind of quiet that feels rehearsed. Like she had already accepted whatever fallout was coming. Like she believed this was her duty, not betrayal. Even the sisters paused, watching her. You could see it on their faces. They knew who really held the power now. Inside, Chrisean saw that silhouette through the upstairs window and nearly dropped her son. Her lungs forgot how to breathe. Her brain blanked. The aunt was never supposed to be part of this. Not like this. Not on this side. But now she was in the yard, fully involved. And suddenly, everything about tonight clicked into place. The paperwork. The arrogance. The way the sisters acted like they couldn't lose. The weird confidence in Blueface's voice every time he said, "It's already done." The aunt wasn't just helping them. She was running the whole operation. One sister rushed up to her, whispering frantically, "She upstairs. We think she hiding with him." The aunt nodded, unfazed, like she had already played that scene in her head 100 times. Blueface walked over, that cocky smirk gone, replaced by something almost respectful. Like even he understood right now, this wasn't his show. It was hers. Even he understood right now, this wasn't his show. It was hers.